Species Spotlight.
The beautiful False Armatus Corydoras, also known as the Sword Corydoras or CW045, are uncommon in the aquarium hobby. They are considered to be one of the more highly desirable Cory catfish and have been warmly welcomed by many enthusiasts because of their unique and attractive markings. Because of their scarcity, they are somewhat expensive and lean towards the higher end of the Corydoras price spectrum. False Armatus Corydoras are peaceful, personable and sociable fish that would make an excellent member of any community aquarium with other peaceful species, or a species-only aquarium if you would like to attempt to breed them. Because of this fish's lofty price tag and sensitivity to poor water conditions, they would be unsuitable for the beginner aquarist. In nature, these Corydoras shoal together, thus it would be best to keep them in a group of at least 6 individuals, otherwise they may become withdrawn, easily stressed, and more susceptible to illness. False Armatus Corydoras would thrive with other small to medium peaceable tank mates such as danios, rasboras and tetras, as well as pencilfish, dwarf cichlids, smaller barbs and ottosinclas catfish. It is also acceptable to house these Corydoras with shrimp and aquarium snails. Nevertheless, it would be best if you did not keep them with considerably larger or aggressive fish. It would be best to house these fish on fine sand as a substrate in your aquarium, although smooth gravel can also be used. These Corys prefer softer water, however, these fish are pretty flexible as long as you avoid sudden changes in water parameters. Aquarium decor is unnecessary, however, you should endeavour to provide some cover using driftwood, bogwood, rocks or tall or floating aquatic plants, so these fish have some security if needed. False Armatus Corydoras have a unique tall body shape and somewhat variable coloration depending on their environment. These Corys have dark grey body coloration and a distinct black band across their eye, with a stunning orange patch at the top of their head. In addition, these fish have a longer dorsal fin than most Corydoras, and they have rusty-coloured transparent fins. There is very little information on the natural habitat of False Armatus Corydoras. However, we know that these Corys are endemic to the Amazon River and tributaries near Jutai in Brazil, South America. There are no successful breeding reports available for False Armatus Corydoras, and there is very little information on how to breed these Corys. Nevertheless, these Corys are likely to produce similar to other Corys. It would be best if you had a separate breeding tank available. This tank can be undecorated, but a soft substrate is essential, as your Corydoras will prefer to feed by rummaging through the substrate for food. Make sure you condition the pair with live and frozen foods, keep the pH steady and drop the water temperature slightly when doing water changes, as this will usually induce spawning. As the female gets close to spawning, you will notice her starting to clean the surface of leaves or the aquarium glass on which she will deposit her eggs. Once all eggs have been deposited, the parents will take no further part in raising the fry and may consume the eggs if given a chance, so it would be best to either remove the fry or return the parents to their usual tank. The incubation time frame is usually between 2 and 4 days, depending on the water conditions and temperature. Then, an additional 2 to 3 days for them to consume their yolk sacs and become free swimming. After that, it would be best to feed the fry on a diet of infusoria or microworms until large enough to accept flakes and granules. Once the fry grows a bit larger and other fish won't see them as a snack, you can introduce them to a community aquarium. It can be challenging to discern between the male and female False Armatus Corydoras. However, the females typically grow larger, and when they are sexually mature, they are noticeably rounder and broader bodied than the males, especially when distended with eggs. False Armatus Corydoras are scavenging omnivores and will accept most sinking dried foods such as algae wafers, sinking pellets and granules, as well as small live, frozen and freeze-dried foods such as tubifex, mosquito larvae, bloodworm and daphnia. Providing your Corys with a varied diet will keep them in tip-top condition. You mustn't expect your Corys to survive solely on leftover food or rely on them as the cleanup crew for your aquarium. Thanks for watching our Species Spotlight.